guys, it's Alice, and today it is time for the first book haul of 2020, which is very exciting. I've got a mix of some belated Christmas presents and some stuff that I've bought myself, so we're just gonna get started. First up, we have this beautiful book called Through the Water Curtain, edited by Cornelia Funk. This is a fairy tale collection, and it's supposed to be a collection of lesser known stories, and they're supposed to be from all over the world. And it's the kind of fairy tales where they very often don't really have a happy ending, which is kind of what the original fairy tales are like, and those are the kinds of fairy tales that I love reading. Secondly, I picked up The River by Peter Heller. This is a sort of thrillery adventure novel about two friends who are both nature lovers, and they decide to go on this canoeing trip. But when they're on this trip, a wildfire breaks out in the area, and they're obviously trying to get away from it. And while they're doing that, they pass by this area with a forest, I think, and they can hear a man and a woman arguing. And they decide to go over to them to tell them about this wildfire so that they can get to safety. But when they go into this area, they can't find anyone. And then the next day, they run into this man, but he is alone, and they're wondering if this is the guy that they heard in the forest. And then if that's the guy, where is the woman? Then I picked up a book in a bookstore that I'm not going to read until it's fall again because it's a very seasonal read. But I picked it up because it was on a really good sale and I had a gift certificate that I needed to use, and it is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. This is a graphic novel about two friends who work in a pumpkin patch, which is obviously very like autumny, so I'm just going to save it until then. Next, I have got this beautiful book that I got from one of my best friends who really nailed it with this, and it is Livet by Lisa Aisato. This translates to life, and I don't even really know if there's a story in here or what it's about, but it's illustrated and the illustrations in here are amazing. I'm already familiar with this artist's work. I've seen some of her children's books because I've read some of them for my nephew, and they are beautiful. And I can't wait to read this. It's so gorgeous. Then we're moving on to non-fiction books, and the first one is another one in Norwegian, and it is 25 konspirasjoner å snakke om I lunsjen by Bjørn Henning Ødegaard og Fredrik Sjåstad Næss. So these guys have a podcast that I've mentioned a couple of times, and it's all about conspiracy theories, and I love that podcast, and they wrote a book. This translates to 25 conspiracies to talk about during your lunch break, and I feel like that kind of sums it up. Next, I picked up a book that I've actually been recommended a lot, but then one of my teachers from the photography school that I went to, he recommended this book to me, and he was like my favorite teacher, and that just made up my mind to finally get it, and it is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. This is a sort of memoir about Adam Kay's experience of being, I think, a junior doctor in the UK, and it's supposed to be quite funny and very easy to read and filled with amazing stories. And I really think I'm going to like this, so I'm very excited. Next, we have got another memoir, and it is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. So Noah is a comedian and a TV host, and this is his story of growing up in South Africa during apartheid. And he had a white father and a black mother, which at the time was a crime. I've seen a couple of Noah's comedy specials on Netflix, and I really like them, and I'm really intrigued to read his story. I think this book explores his relationship with his mother quite a lot, which is always a really interesting dynamic. Second to last, we've got, you guessed it, another memoir, and it is Gotta Get Through This by Louis Theroux. First of all, the title of this book gets a 10 out of 10. Amazing, a really good choice, very dry, but very good. And this is the story of Louis Theroux's life, and I love his documentaries, so when I saw that he came out with this, I just had to get it. I also just noticed that they chose to put this photo on the back, which I also feel like is a 10 out of 10 choice. Lastly, we have got a book about our very near future, and it is The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace Wells. This is a book about climate change that I just know is gonna give me anxiety. But then again, I'm already very anxious about this topic, so I guess I might as well be well informed. This takes a look at what life on Earth is going to be like with a warmer climate and all of the effects that it's going to have. And I think it's going to be really, really bad, folks. Ending on that very positive note, those are all the books that I had to show you today. I would of course love to know if you've read any of these books and what you thought, or if you have gotten any exciting new books lately, and I will see you soon. Bye!